He's probably trying to figure out his camera. Oh!
I love it. Love it.
He's going to do the whole episode in that mask.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
I thought it was going to be Leia buns for sure.
All right.
It's going to be hot in that sweater.
I love you got the sweater and everything. Good job.
Well, welcome to the duck pond, everybody. We got Matt Claus here.
Doing?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? I'm Matt Claus.
We got Chewy, aka Dustin.
Yeah, I'm here.
And the most important person, Lacey.
Yeah,
I didn't even say that with confidence.
But I like it. You sold it. You sold it.
Yeah. So we're talking about the originals today of Star Wars, wrapping up Boba Fett and talking about some trailers that we watched. I watched them directly before this, and it gave me chills.
So you're hyped.
I'm hyped. And we also made Matt Claus's signature drink for tonight. Who wants to go first?
I'll throw mine up first because people have seen it before. By the way, I want to thank Dustin, Lacey. Thank you for having me on here. I'm really excited. I've been a long-time fan of the Duck Pond, and I'm super excited about being here. And I'll just let you guys know. So when we're talking about what we're gonna do, they asked me if I could make a drink for them. Now I do a little show myself sometimes called Cocktails for the Quarantine, which I've been doing for the past 2 years. And so we decided we're gonna make a Star Wars themed drink. So a lot of things went through my brain. There's lightsaber drinks, there's blue milk, obviously, but the one of trending today is, of course, the Baby Yoda margarita. You can see there in all its glory, and I made one last night, and it was just delicious, and it still is. Oh my God,
it looks delicious.
I love it.
Yours is so much better.
His eyes are a little wonky, but I've had some practice making margaritas, like maybe too much practice making margaritas over the years, but that's my Baby Yoda drink. So I'm really excited to see what you guys did.
I have to go after that.
Oh, did I tell you? I love spoiling people's presentations. I always have. But
do you want me to go next, Duck?
All right, I can go. My eyes kept sinking to the bottom, I didn't get my margarita glass, but I got my Star Wars Empire Strikes Back glass.
I love it. I love it. So is that the Darth Vader Empire Strikes Back glass? Is that what I recognize there?
This. Take that off now.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful.
Vintage.
Whopper.
I have one of those myself from Burger King back from 1981, like I said, but mine is the Darth Vader version. I wanted to pull it out, but this is it's margarita time. So
margarita. Mine, I did not find a margarita glass at the Buck store. The whole shelf was ransacked, but I did find my glass. So can you see mine? Oh, can't really.
Almost.
Oh, there we go. Hold it against myself. So I'm pretty impressed with my little Yoda outfit.
That is beautiful.
I like it. It's cute.
I folded it down.
It's like Grogu's little cloak that's just kind of like draped over him. I like it.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks more like Leia, but I'll take it.
I like it. I also like the kind of the floating blueberries works well. That was kind of awesome.
Yeah. How'd you get them to do that? Mine just sunk.
I put them in frozen, so maybe that did it.
That probably helps. I just put toothpicks on mine, and I just stuck the toothpicks from the grape into the lime, and I thought that was
there you go.
Oh, yeah. And these are also apples because they didn't have lime at Zayre's. Oh.
Guys.
Every time I do a drink of Matt Claus's, nothing is in stock. It's probably because I leave it to the last.
It's because the word gets out. Everyone wants it.
Matt Claus is doing cocktails for the quarantine. Everybody go get lime juice. That's how it goes. Hey, may the force be with you guys.
Yeah,
cheers.
Be with you. It's yummy.
All right, let's jump into Boba Fett, right? The last time that we talked about it, I think it was right before, it turned into the Mandalorian show, he came in and took over.
It's already got a subplot, episode 3.
Awesome. Like the Mandalorian's first episode, so many callbacks to the prequels, you know, the great ones.
We'll discuss.
Yeah, the ones you love so much.
A spot in my heart was right below garbage, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give it to you that they're not the best, but with all the added lore, they've really like come into their own. Like Mando's got the same ship that Anakin drove in the first one now. Like, yeah, that was awesome. And Baby Grogu's in the back.
Yeah,
that was pretty sweet when he brought out the wizard. I guess they're calling it the wizard ship. Yeah, no, that was pretty amazing, and the way they kind of built it up, like, you know, building up an old classic car, that was awesome. I got to give you that.
Yeah,
but
I liked him calling it wizard too, because like I guess that's like Star Wars slang for like awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
bringing it back,
right?
I'm not up with this cool hip new lingo of yours. I know. I thought it had something to do with like wizards or Jedis are kind of wizards, and I figured somewhere in there, but irregardless,
using that. That's so wizard.
Anakin says it in the first Star Wars. Again, how they're making it.
Oh, that's cool. I like that
better. Yeah.
I love the callbacks they do on these shows type things. So we really get to see kind of, you know, there's a lot of nostalgia. Now, if I can say, I was a little disappointed when it went from the Boba Fett story to the Mandalorian Part 3, because I was enjoying the Boba Fett story. I really was, but it was done well, and I enjoyed it. And for my money, the second season of the Mandalorian kind of was, every episode was a, hey, do you remember this awesome thing? Look at this. Hey, do you remember this Jedi? Hey, well, here he is. Or, hey, Luke Skywalker's back. And it was like the first season was awesome. The second season was great, and I loved it. And it like just hit my nostalgia button right in the heart every single time. But it was still nostalgia. So this was kind of cool because it brought the Mandalorian back without having so much in your face nostalgia, but was just a nice little sprinkling, if you will. And that's kind of what they needed to do.
Yeah.
It definitely could have, the first like one that featured Mandalorian, it definitely could have just been its own thing, and I didn't need Baby Grogu to be there in the last battle and all that. But I think they're just like, hey guys, remember this?
Really, most of that show is probably people that just love Grogu.
Yeah, I mean, Grogu's got a following. Let's face facts.
You know what? He is like me and my friend, like full grown men sitting there when he like jumps up and hugs Mando, both look at each other and just went, "Aw."
You can't help like, are you a monster? Who's not gonna awe at that?
He's
like
adorable.
when he's there and Luke's like, okay, now jump up, and does that little hop, like, oh my god, that's beautiful.
Right? These teeth. Oh yeah. And like, what did you think he was gonna pick? Did you think he was gonna pick the Beskar, or did you think he was gonna pick the lightsaber?
That was tough. That was
right? It's gonna be the lightsaber.
I kind of felt like I wanted to pick the lightsaber, but I kind of thought it was going to be the Beskar, only because this is the Mandalorian / Boba Fett show, not the Luke Skywalker show. And you can't get rid of this character. He's way too popular. They're just making $1 billion off this guy. So it had to be the Beskar to bring him back. But it kind of made me sad. And I actually have thoughts about that as well. I think he's going to be a Sith. He's going to be a Sith Lord. This little guy has so many midichlorians in him. He is a Jedi master. He's been partially trained on how to use them. He knows what he's doing, but he's not getting the Jedi discipline to keep him on the good side of the Force. Look what happened to Anakin. Look what happened to all the other people who had all these Jedi powers and weren't given the proper training. Where do they go? Red lightsaber. That's what I'm saying. So watch it happen. And again, they're probably going to make him good because it's Disney and all that. But you know, in my brain, it's like, oh, he made a good choice, but he made the wrong choice. He's going down a dark path right now. I'm putting money on it right now. We'll see where it goes.
You think so?
I think so.
I think he's going to balance it, because that was always everyone's problem, is the no attachments and always that and all that. And Mando even said, like, well, no attachments. That's the opposite of our creed, like, right? Yeah. So he's going to get the Mandalorian style training, and Who knows? Maybe eventually Mando's definitely gonna die. Like before Grogu. Like, you know, maybe after that he goes and I don't know, can't hook up with Luke. He's dead too.
We're gonna get Mando Jedi. That's kind of an awesome idea. I like this. Going.
You know, maybe eventually we get him running around with Rey and shit having adventures.
Oh, I want a coloring book. All right.
Right?
and plus he's getting... sorry, speaking of like not having a series with Luke Skywalker completely, can we talk about the CGI / is that an actor under there that is 30-year-old Mark Hamill on screen? Like,
time travel. Disney has time travel.
Well, fair enough. Enough. Like, no, that's amazing. You can't tell, and that because what was it? Mark Hamill? Does anybody know? I didn't even look.
No, it wasn't Mark Hamill. It's
Hamilton. Something Hamilton, because I was like, oh, maybe they're related, and I was like, wait, that's not the same last name. I'm an idiot.
But they were they were doing that for Rogue One with Princess Leia and Moff Tarkin as well. Mm-hmm. They have the technology to do it, so it's CGI. It's got to be. But wow, it really felt like I was back in 1977 looking at Luke Skywalker again.
It was crazy. I was like, did they just find a replica? They're like, we don't even care if you can act that well. You just look like him. Just get the fuck in there.
We just need you to move.
Yeah.
So essentially the same thing they did for Jake Lloyd in, you know, the first movie as Anakin, the little baby kid that just looked like Luke, and that's why they picked him.
Ruined his life. Yeah.
Well, you know, poor kid.
Yeah. Star Wars fans are fucking savages.
Yeah. You can't take the heat, you know.
No.
Yeah.
Can't take the heat. Get off the lightsaber.
It's been a problem for many of them. But what did you guys think of the Rancor? I loved it.
Amazing.
Oh, sick. Right? Absolutely great. Perfect ending, because I remember the whole callback. I want to ride that. Like, he's going to get the Rancor. He's going to ride the Rancor. And he comes in and starts beating up those old robots. Oh, my God. Amazing. And can we say that last episode was great? Rodriguez directed it. Just said so well. It was like a perfect Western kind of big fight scene. Nothing wrong. The whole thing just moved. It was like long, but it was too short. You just kind of wanted to keep going. My only one complaint is like Angry Wookiee, and I can't remember what his name is. I call him Ruffigan, but Angry Wookiee.
Chrysanthemum.
Yeah, Chrysanthemum, that's the one. Yeah. He was like pretty much being beaten down. All of a sudden, he just like comes in with like people hanging off. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. I like that. But
I was like, oh, he lived. Okay.
But no, just amazing from beginning to end. That whole episode just worked perfectly, right. And it was such a good Rodriguez type directing that you just saw with the whole kind of Mexican standoff and everything just going on. Oh, I loved it. 100%.
I loved when they sent that Twi'lek out. I can't remember his name. He's killed me, by the way, the entire time. He's like, anytime he's on screen, I'm laughing.
Yeah.
But when they send him out with the list of demands and like he doesn't even look at it first, and he's just like, I will give you. He's like, oh crap, nothing.
This is not ending well for me here.
Yeah. And then of course, you know, they bust out and have that awesome just boo boo boo. Oh God. Right? Like, and they get hit so many times and they just keep going. I love the one where they where the one sniper guy hits them and they both just single them out and like shoot them in a very unnecessary amount of times.
No, it was an awesome episode. I found with the Rancor. I always feel like I'm saying it wrong. It's a weird, it doesn't feel good in my mouth.
Sounds good to me.
It's not a real word. It's okay.
It was exactly what if I were to add anything to Return of the Jedi, would be more of that. Because you get so little of him, right? He kills that guy and you're like, oh shit, Luke Skywalker beats him. And then that's kind of it. You don't get any more. I think back
then it's like, you know, it's a big puppet. It's a lot harder to, it's like, you know, it's Santa Claus. You got to get in and get out.
Yeah, this guy's awesome. So
and it's all stop motion too. So every single step he took took 3 hours to film type thing.
Yeah. So it was nice to see, and I was really happy that when Mando went to go and ride him, the ring instantly rejected him, and it was like, your dad's gonna be fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's not special if Mando can just land on him and do it.
I would stop watching Boba at that point. I'm like, why? We don't care about Boba anymore. Okay, I probably wouldn't, but I would like to say I would.
You wouldn't.
So is there going to be a Boba season 2 though? Or are they going back? Because I know they're doing Mandalorian Part 3 next, right? Like that, I heard that was announced.
I don't think there was a
There's no trailers. I think I read some spoiler page or whatever.
I didn't even see something at the end that said, Boba Fett will be back, and
okay.
So I think they're kind of leaving it open-ended, but you know what? Just from the last few episodes, I would watch a series that's just hey, let's look at what Ahsoka was doing from here to there. Let's look at what this person was doing. Just all the characters they showed thrown in, RTD2 showing up with Grogu and sassing Callie.
Yeah.
Who isn't that girl great?
No, she could have her own. I would watch a series about her alone. Just
right?
This is great.
A sitcom with her and the Twilight guy.
A little odd couple thing going on. I like where it's going.
Yeah, just everyday situations on Tatooine.
Just Seinfeld, but in Tatooine.
I'd watch it. Come on.
I'd give it a go. Why the hell not?
Yeah, exactly. But so what did you what's your guys' end impressions of Book of Boba Fett? Were you obviously we all liked it.
Thumbs up for sure.
I liked it. I know talking with Ben, he thought it didn't make sense. And I was like, no, it makes it made sense to me. But I've also watched Star Wars. I don't know.
What part didn't make sense?
He was just I don't get why they're here, or why. I think it's the type of series that you need to go in knowing a lot of backstory, or nothing's gonna make sense.
Well, I think at the very end of it, it's about Boba Fett finding his tribe, right? He was with the Tuskens, those were his people and all that, and he learned the value of a tribe. That's why when him and Cad Bane were having that standoff, he's like, "This is my city," right? Because this band of misfits that he's gathered up, this is his new tribe. He even says the Black Chrysanthemum, don't work for scuzz holes, right? Work for people you can trust. And that's the whole theme of it, was him making, a family for himself, because he's learned that, there's value in that rather than being a lone wolf like he'd been for so long.
Yeah.
I can see that. I think the one thing I really loved about it is the way they brought the Tuskens to life, because they've always just been kind of outskirt bad guys, faceless, whatever, which honestly is a little bit racist, because they're the Indians of the cowboy story, and they always have been. And I believe the actor that does Boba Fett does have Maori in him. And he kind of brought a lot of that legend to them, which I think is kind of a cool thing. So we actually start to see these people not as just kind of random bad guys who cover their faces and shoot people. So that was
a lot.
That was awesome to see. And of course, that was really neat for me. I like to see that a lot. And it's also kind of cool to see, what happened to Bib Fortuna, who was kind of this, character who apparently had a lot more power than I ever gave him credit for after watching Return of the Jedi.
I was I thought he was a slime ball.
Well, he is.
And that's he's living big.
He was. But my only question that I had about it, I came out saying, did they ever show, maybe I missed this, did they ever show when Boba Fett got his armor back? Because he got it all stolen by the Jawas after getting out of the Sarlacc pit. And then he was wandering around with the Tusken hood on and stuff like that, and all of a sudden now he's got the armor back when he attacks Bib Fortuna. Did they cover that?
But I can't remember exactly when it got covered.
He gets the armor back in the second season of The Mandalorian, because Cobb Vanth buys it off the Jawas that steal it, and then Mando gets it off of Cobb Vanth.
Right.
I wasn't going back far enough. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that's the whole part. Like you know, like when, like just before he finds Fennec Shand, when that other bounty hunter shoots her, he hears it and goes there with his bantha.
Beautiful. Okay, well, that answered my only question I had.
There you go.
2 thumbs up.
There you go. Ask the Wookiee sweater. Also gives relationship advice.
It's awful.
It's awful. It's never in your favor.
Yeah.
No one ever said it was good, but it's there.
So, all right. That's that.
Else?
And we're moving on to Star Wars, the original 3. You know, George Lucas started it up. I don't think he thought he was going to get past the first movie. That's why he put the Death Star in the first one.
I don't
nobody
think
thought he was,
did.
Which is
true,
interesting.
right?
Do you guys know the history of George Lucas and how he got into Star Wars?
No,
in the first place?
No.
Oh, I can enlighten you if anyone wants to hear a story. So George Lucas was a director in the 60s. He made this out of film school. He made his first film called THX 1148, which just flopped, but was a critical success. And then he did this other film. You may have heard of it, called American Graffiti. Now, American Graffiti was his first big hit, and it was the second movie he ever did, to the point where it was nominated for Oscars. It was a huge, huge success, and is currently on the top AFI 100 films of all time, which is kind of funny because George Lucas isn't really that great a director, but he just managed to hit gold with this thing. So all of a sudden, his stock went way up in Hollywood, and he had this love idea of recreating Buck Rogers, which was a 1960s, 50s, 70s, I don't know. So anyway, Buck Rogers, this kind of space soap opera thing, and he wanted to put that in onto film, but he couldn't get the rights to it. So he wrote his own movie called Star Wars, which was based on samurai films and old westerns, essentially, influenced by a guy named Kurosawa. If you haven't watched The Seven Samurai, so that's where it all came from. I haven't watched it either. I just know the lore. Anyway, so he really wanted to make this movie, but every single studio said, yeah, that's kind of crap. But Fox said, yeah, your movie's crap, but we really liked American Graffiti, so we'll let you try it, but we really think it's going to be a flop. And so they did, and they really pushed him around. They wouldn't let him do his own vision. They really gave him a lot of notes, and so it was a pretty big collaboration because no one trusted him yet, even though he had like Oscar nominations under his belt. And then it came out, and well, we know what happened. The world changed because of Star Wars. So that was kind of Lucas's beginning. He took a small salary and he did the smartest thing ever in the world. And this is I'm going to get to this point a little bit later on. He was offered $150,000 was the going rate for a new director. His manager said, you can make more money. You could probably make about $500,000 to direct this film. This is in 77, by the way. So that's not too shabby a number. He said, I don't want your $500,000. I'll stick with the 150, but you got to give me all the merchandising rights. Okay. So having said that, and he gets to retain the right to the name Star Wars, he gets to retain the merchandising rights, but he still takes just the base salary. Fox at that time had said, they'd tried to merchandise their movies before and never made any money off it. So they're like, win, yeah, for sure, whatever you want. And so Lucas made the film Star Wars. It hit like 9-0, but he didn't make a lot of money off of it. But he did get to maintain all the merchandising rights to every single toy, every single shirt, every single lunchbox. And believe me, I was around in 77. Everybody had one. Was all money into George Lucas's pocket, which why he is now a multi-billionaire, where like Steven Spielberg, who has like 100 amazing Academy Awards, just a few millionaires, he's not that great. But merchandising, it was all about merchandising for George, and that's kind of where the whole series came from. So that's the story of how Star Wars started. Nobody wanted to make it. It was expected to be a flop by everybody, including Lucas, by the way. Lucas didn't even go to the premiere. He went off to it. He went with his buddy Steven Spielberg to an island and just said, I can't be around for this, because everyone told him it was going to be awful. So he left. He left the country during the premiere, and then found out later on how massive a hit it was. And while he was there, he discussed with Spielberg about this new idea he had for Harrison Ford called Indiana Jones, but we can talk about that a little bit later. So that's the story of Star Wars. That's how it began.
Oh,
And I would just like to point out that it is good that they collabed with George Lucas, because when you let George Lucas do things by himself, you get Hayden Christensen.
Hey, Hayden Christensen was a perfect example of what he needed to do. How can you hate on Darth Vader's origin story? You know, whatever. Moving on.
Don't you fancy drink me.
I just want to let you know the reason why I have the background I do is because that's my Anakin right there. That's the guy.
Which we will talk about when we talk about Return of the Jedi. But let's start with A New Hope first.
Okay.
Well, A New Hope was hopeful.
It's probably of the three my least favorite, but I still love it, if that makes sense.
You have to.
Yeah.
It started everything.
Yeah.
So you know what I hate about New Hope is A New Hope. It's called Star Wars, damn it. It always was called Star Wars until Lucas said, well, that doesn't really fit my naming convention, so we have to give it the other name that I kind of didn't give it. But all advertisements, everything, it's Star Wars. It's just Star Wars. If you say Star Wars, no one thinks, are we going to watch, Revenge of the Sith? No, we're watching A New Hope. So let's just call it Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's right.
Yeah.
Now, the question about New Hope, do you think it stands up to today's standards of movies?
No, definitely not.
None of them.
Kind of awful.
That's why I love them.
It's a beautiful piece of camp, and it again, nostalgia hits me right in the middle of the heart bullseye every single time I watch it. But I can't really say it's an amazing movie by any stretch of the imagination. But it changed the world, so you got to give it its credit for that.
Yes, and I will say Mark Hamill is the handsomest in that one, because one of my facts is he was in a really bad accident after the first one was made, right? So his face was all fudged up for the second and third one. Yep. And I think they explained it away somehow after the first one.
I can tell you exactly how they explain it away if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm just a trivia. I'm a trivia guy when it comes to Star Wars.
No, we love it.
So in the very first scene of Empire, they're out, well, not the very first scene, but in the first few scenes, they're out on Hoth. They're traveling around, and he gets attacked by what? A Wampa. The Wampa attacks him, smashes up his face, and the only reason why they have that scene in there is because they had to explain why he's got a big scar on his face now. So the Wampa scene was put in directly because of the accident. And all I can say is cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Sure is. Star Wars would not have been made without it.
Oh, the holiday special. We can talk about that too if you want. But
I will say overall as well that I wish that you could find on DVD, and maybe you can, the unedited, because it really grinds my gears when I see CGI shit in the original.
Oh my God.
It bothers me.
I actually bothers you.
I happen to have a copy of the Laserdisc copies of all three original ones, and I can watch it unedited, and it's so much better.
Yeah.
It's just it kills me watching the edited versions because, well, first of all, here's the problem. It happened in 1997 when Lucas redid them because they didn't fit his full imagination. 1997 CGI was still crap. I mean, even today it doesn't look perfect yet, but it was bad back then. And now I have all of them on Blu-ray, and you watch it and you watch the film. Anything that he does CGI just stands out like a sore thumb in high definition. It looked okay in the theaters, I suppose, but we didn't know what it is. But every time I see and this is the worst thing about the whole CGI, the stuff they added in, there's no use for whatsoever. Let's go into Mos Eisley, and there's a Jawa walking along with a large dinosaur thing for no good. He's going to get flung into the air, and these things are going to happen. Does this add anything to the story? No, it's just some geek with a computer saying, hey, look what I can do. And that's exactly how I feel every time I see something CGI in that. Which brings us to one more point. I do have to ask you guys, who shot first?
Han.
Totally Han.
Because he's cool.
All right. I disagree.
And why?
Okay, so this is an argument that I've had to have a few times in my life. So, first question.
Sorry.
Now, there is a precedent set in the original film that Han shot Greedo, and I will give you that 100%. But Greedo never shot. If nobody else shoots, you can't really say that Han shot first. Han only shot. Greedo never shot. Now, in the remake, when you watch it, Greedo shoots, misses, Han shoots him back. So the only time there was 2 shots was in the remake of the film. And you can't really say there's a first shot if there's not a second shot. So Han didn't shoot first, Han just shot. The only time that Han would have shot with a first or second, he shot second. So therefore, Greedo had to shoot first in that specific scene. And that's kind of an important part because Han is a cold-blooded killer. There was no reason for him to shoot. And even if you watch the original one, you don't even see Han shoot. He just goes for his gun under the table and he aims it and there's just an explosion and Greedo dies. So, I mean, Greedo could have had a hand grenade in his pocket and just exploded on him. We don't really know that Han shot, but that's what it was. So I can't say Han shot first only because Han shot. You wouldn't say, this is my first wife if you've only been married once. You would say, this is my wife. That's why I say you can't shoot first.
I feel like you just riddle science me. I changed my answer semantics? And I believe Matt the whole time. Dustin, that's you're such the answer. An idiot for thinking Han shot first.
You're an idiot. This is about your idiocy, not mine.
I'm sorry for coming onto your podcast and destroying your friendship. That's the end of it there.
I think your mic might have unplugged, bud.
Me?
Yeah, or it was just like crunchy for a bit, but we're good.
It's because he was screaming about being wrong. That's the thing.
Is it because you were screaming at me? Okay.
It might have been. Here, wait, give me 1 second, okay? Because I want to try something. Because I don't think I'm using I think I'm using the mic in this, not my yeah.
Mine does.
Do you have an external mic?
Yeah. 1 sec.
It gives us grief though. It's our Yeti Nanos. We plug them in and like sometimes they use them, other times
they'll connect and then they'll disconnect.
Yeah.
All right, 1 second.
This is exciting podcasting right now. I'm loving it though. The other thing about the CG, I can talk about that while we're waiting for Dustin here, is just the way it stands out, and through the entire trilogy, if I can, it didn't need to be done. None of it needed to be done. That there are some parts that are enhanced that look good. Like for instance, the land speeder used to be it was blurred using Vaseline on the film, so it was floating because it was really just a car. Yeah, they did a lot of cut tricks like that. I think there was a mirror underneath and stuff like that. But to be able to clean that sort of stuff up was actually pretty good. Like the stuff like that you wouldn't think about, because if you watch the originals, like I said, if you watch them on the Laserdisc version, which is the only high definition quality version of the originals left in the world, you can definitely see some like rubber masks and battleship parts in them. They're quite, so they do clean things up a little bit, and I'll give them that. But when you talk to Lucas about it, Lucas said, well, the film I wanted to make I couldn't make because I didn't have the technology. So this is what the film should have been like. But we've all learned, and like you said, Lacey, you can't let Lucas have full control of a project. You can't. The fact that the studio kind of gave him notes and made him do different things, I think made the movie what it was. And when we see Lucas do things on his own,
it's a dumpster fire.
Well,
let's say it's not.
He had 20 years to build up an ego of his own, saying you can't do anything wrong because you're George Lucas. You made this amazing thing, and then they let him do whatever he wanted to. And what do we get? Jar Jar Binks. So
Jar Jar Binks
and midi-chlorians. Let's face facts. Midi-chlorians are awful as well. But
no, the Force is just bugs in your blood. And I believe it.
Midi-chlorians, Dad. Midi-chlorians.
All right. Well, should we move on to Empire Strikes Back? Which I don't know. It's hard to pick what's my favorite between Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. I think it's Return of the Jedi, but Empire Strikes Back is still pretty fucking great.
You know what? I'd say Empire. We get Hoth. We get, once again, George Lucas being like, "Don't you hate hands?" What else did we get there? We got Luke get put into the what was that again? The Tauntaun.
Oh yeah, yep.
Right. We get silly Yoda.
That's the best Yoda. There's no question about
it. Right. That's my favorite Yoda, senile Yoda.
Me too. That's why I also hate Yoda in the prequels. He's not silly in like a senile way, like he should be. Yeah. He's just kind of an old man.
Yoda became this wise old Jedi master, and they kind of made him into this whole, I don't know, like holier than thou, like the Pope of Jedis, if you will. And in the original, he was a Muppet. He was a funny little Muppet, and he was so awesome, and we all loved him for it. And he had a little serious
with R2-D2,
like him smacking on R2-D2. Yeah. It's mine. And it was amazing. Now here's another piece of trivia for you. George Lucas, in all his wisdom, did not want a puppet Yoda. George Lucas wanted a green monkey. And I don't mean like a green monkey puppet. He wanted a literal monkey. But the trainers told him, if you put these ears on a mask on this monkey, you know what it's going to do? It's going to take the mask off and wave it in the air and yell at you and probably throw poop, because that's what monkeys do. So Frank Oz is like, well, I can do something for you. And George Lucas said, but I want my monkey. So George,
my monkey. You can have a monkey, George. You rich. Just buy a monkey.
But
it's the 70s. You can do whatever you want to that monkey.
But eventually the cooler heads prevailed. They used Frank Oz as Yoda, and he killed it, and to the point where they want to give him an Oscar nomination for Best Actor, but then the Academy pretty much said, no, he's not an actor, he's a puppet, so you can't give him one, which is kind of sad if you think about it. But
I wholeheartedly disagree.
I do too, but Kermit might get pissed.
Yeah, well, Kermit's been doing things way longer than Yoda has, but in the end,
Kermit's
Yoda in Empire was maybe one of the best things about it. It really was.
Right?
So,
absolutely.
Oh, damn. I forgot the point I was in. Never mind. Carry on. We'll talk more later.
I wrote down something about different characters that I thought would be funny, because that's just how my brain works. But because we were just talking about, sorry, I'm blanking and I'm going to have to cut this out. 1 second.
No problem.
Let me refer to my notes. Oh, yeah. I wanted to talk about what a whore Carrie Fisher was.
Wow.
Hey, she is not. There's no underwear in space.
That's Space Mom you're talking about. Be good.
Okay. You know what? Go.
Tell us about Carrie.
Go off, girl.
I love Carrie Fisher, okay? Don't get me wrong. I've listened to all of her audiobooks, and that's why I know that she was kind of hoeing it up on set. And not hoeing it up. She was just being a free woman. She was being liberated. But totally had an affair with Harrison Ford for 3 months while high out of their faces.
Yep.
Who wouldn't have an affair with Harrison Ford? I wouldn't even need to be high off my face. He's a gorgeous man.
But he was married. And it took her 40 years to come out with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Everybody kind of, there's always those rumors that go on with two, I don't know, I almost said co-workers, but co-actors, whatever. But it took until 2016 for her to admit that she did the boogie.
She waited till she was so old that it was like Betty White status that you couldn't get mad at her.
No, that's
I'm
actually
Teflon
what
now.
she said in the book. She's like, I can say this now because he's not married to that same wife. There's nobody's feelings that will be hurt here because she's not married to the guy that she was married to. Mm-hmm. So That's
I'm
what
sure
I
they
think
all
of it.
know by now.
Yeah.
At the time, she was only 19. He was like 36, though, too. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it was gross.
still a
Ooh.
little creep. Little
Ooh,
creep.
that's a
going on
little
there.
problematic.
I don't care what
That's-
era you're in.
yeah, there's a problem with that, Harrison.
So again, Harrison's Teflon, though. What are you gonna do, man? The guy's gonna
Uh,
Indiana Jones and Han Solo. This guy
Yeah,
he can do no wrong.
He can have a monkey if he wants to.
Much
But
like
she-
George Lucas. Oh yeah, wait, I remember what I was gonna say. All right. Wouldn't it have been great though if like George Lucas got his way and we got like some like deleted scenes of like this monkey just attacking Mark Hamill?
Just ripping apart R2D2 Kenny Baker's father.
Yeah, it's just freaking out.
That's the real reason they had to screw up Mark Hamill's face.
Yeah.
The monkey.
They're just like, you know what? Give him his way. He's gonna regret it after one day. We'll get him the craziest monkey there is.
George Lucas is like, let's do it again.
Yeah, I want to take that monkey home.
Good.
Oh,
Man,
God.
it would have been amazing to see. These are things that you find out after the fact, like how good would that have been?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Empire by far is in my opinion the best movie of the entire series, and the reason for that is this: first of all, it's done well, and it's dark. It's not a happy tale. The rebels don't really win anything. They start off on Hoth, they get found out, they have to leave, and they all get killed. And when they're leaving, Han and Leia can't get away. And in the end, they manage to escape, but Boba Fett gets them like right away and capture them again in Cloud City, where they have to flee for their lives as well. Nobody does well in this. Luke tries to go get Jedi training, and again, it's great, but he said, "Oh, no, I'm leaving." And Yoda's like, "You shouldn't leave." He's like, "Yeah, screw you, I'm leaving," and he leaves. And it's like all these things go wrong for them, and I think that's why I love it. It's not a happy ending story. It's a very dark tale about what can go wrong for the rebellion, and it's really the perfect arc in the middle of the series for that as well. And I think that's why I really like that one.
Yeah.
Now, I do have one or two complaints about it, which I think are awesome. So first of all, Darth Vader really comes to his own on this one. So in the first movie, he was good, but he was just he was only in the film for like 10 minutes. He didn't do a lot in the first one. In the second one, he really becomes his own character and really starts to own the scene. Now, there's one part at the very beginning of the film when they're putting out the droids, and the one goes to Hoth, and then Han Solo shoots it. You remember this, I'm sure. The kind of floating droids with little arms and like the octopus things.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they're putting these things out because they're looking for the rebels all over the place. And then the one guy's on the radar says, "Sir, we found some activity on this planet Hoth. We should check it out." And the admiral of the fleet's like, "We're not going to follow up on every lead that we find." It's like, what are you doing? You have no leads. You found a lead. Like, forget it. We don't have to look at that one. Then Darth Vader's like, "Yeah, we should go check that one out. That's where they are." And then he like chokes the admiral and he dies. So, but you can't fail Darth Vader in this. If you even make half a mistake, you're getting force choked out. And Vader is amazing. He really shows us the evilness that he could be. Now, and the other good thing about this film was the lightsaber battle. Now, I believe, Dustin, you pointed out last episode that the lightsaber battle in New Hope was pathetic, and they did a remake of it. Is that right? You said something like that, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So the remake's awesome, but if you actually watch the New Hope, the lightsaber battle is two old guys who don't know how to hold a sword going. It's awful. It's absolutely pathetic. Yes. In this one, they've actually learned that maybe we got something here with this sword fight thing. Let's teach our actors how to actually fight with swords. So we get this really, really cool lightsaber battle between Darth and between Luke, and it's done well. We actually see some power, like force power, like Darth Vader's throwing crap across the room and stuff like that. They're actually fighting. You push him into the carbonite pit, and then the ultimate thing happens. And by the way, I was alive. I went to see this. I know you guys are a little bit younger than me, but I saw this in the theater, and this blew everybody's minds like nobody ever believed it. Darth Vader pushes Luke out onto the platform, and he chops his hand off. And then he says, "No, I am your father." And it just, the idea that Darth was actually Luke's father, because nobody knew it was going to happen. Not even the people that were filming knew this. Lucas had kept it a secret, to his credit. And so all the reaction that you see from Luke didn't know he was going to say this, and it really kind of he went crazy, because like, how could you be my father? You just chopped this guy's arm off. And like, it was debate for months, like after the film came out, because there was another 3 years before Return of the Jedi came out, and it's all us kids in the playground talk about, I can't really be his father, can it? Because nobody knew. It was just this one thing. Why would he say that? There's no way, because this is his father. He's died. Obi-Wan said so that can't be right. And it brought this whole kind of twist to it that was a what if that was just, it blew people's minds like no tomorrow. And I think that's probably why it's the best of the series, because it's dark, it had great twists, and it kind of really established Darth Vader as a main character, as a real villain, as opposed to, he was kind of a bad guy, but the real bad guy of New Hope was Moff Tarkin. It wasn't Vader. Moff Tarkin's the one that said to destroy Alderaan. Moff Tarkin's the one that did all the bad things, and he blew up in the Death Star, and that was it. Darth Vader was bad, but he's kind of cool. He could choke people, and that was good. But really, when you saw that happen, I think that's really what brought Star Wars into a great story, as opposed to just a really cool special effects movie. And one more thing I want to bring up that most people don't know: the original, before the CGI remakes of it, the original Empire had a very, very brief scene with the Emperor when he's talking via hologram to Darth Vader. And I don't remember the name of the person, but it was not the Emperor that we know and love. It was actually a female who was born in 1901 and is actually the oldest member of the Star Wars cast, even older than Alec Guinness himself. So it was a female, but it wasn't someone else's voice on there, but it's like, I don't remember the name. I'm not going to try to remember the name. It's just very obscure.
I'm impressed. I'm already impressed.
But yeah. So there you go. So the original Sith Emperor was actually a female. It was not the guy that we know and love, Palpatine. So there you go. That's my love for Empire. And again, I will put that up against any Star Wars film any day of the week.
No, I think it's a good dark edition. I think I like Return of the Jedi purely because of the Ewoks. But
love the Ewoks.
Love the Ewoks. But I actually was reading about Return of the Jedi, and they were planning to initially make it so Luke Skywalker took Darth Vader's mask at the end and like put it on and was like, "Now I'm Vader." But like, wait.
Love it.
And they're like, "No, George, go play with your fucking monkey."
So George, we're gonna collab on this idea.
Yeah.
It was actually George Lucas that didn't want to make him Vader.
You know what? I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, yeah, it would kind of change a lot, though.
But yeah, you know what? I'd be okay with it, but I'm okay with anything. It wouldn't make sense. Like, why the hell did he just fight and all that to be like, no, now I rule the empire? It's like, were you just oppressed by this your entire life, numbnuts?
Yep. Well, that's actually funny, because that was a big rumor going around after the films that ended. So after Return of the Jedi happened, there was 20 years before we got the prequels or something like that. And it was around 17 years, whatever it was. And there was, of course, Star Wars was huge. It's a bunch of fan theories. And one, well, Luke has to be evil now, because the Emperor said, if you strike me down, then, you're going to be the next, the Sith. So he gave into his anger and whatever. We see it. Luke killed Vader, but not in the way that anyone wanted him to from the Sith standpoint. But there was an idea that Luke would then, of course, not having the training, not having any mentorship, would fall to the Sith as well, and then become the new bad guy for the next series of films, which obviously didn't happen. But that was a huge thing going around, that's what it could have been at the time. So it never happened, and probably okay for that as well.
Yeah, probably for the better.
Yeah. It's probably for the best. Because then we got the prequels.
Yeah.
Well, the prequels were okay for a couple of different reasons. And it really was a good beginning of the tale. I just don't think that they were that well done. And I'm sorry, Hayden Christensen's a good actor. He really is. but he was directed to be very wooden, and just things like, I hate sand. I don't like sand. It gets everywhere. This is a love scene.
But like, I relate so hard to you, Anakin. I too also hate sand.
He's a whiny little emo, and that's not what Anakin should be. Anakin should have been this big badass killing younglings the whole way through, not, I hate sand. I don't like the sand people. I killed them all. Nah, Darth,
and then it doesn't get brought up again.
Well, of course she didn't bring it up again. That would have killed the mood.
I don't like that they re-edited and put young Anakin Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. Watching it last night, I was like, when the hell did that happen? I guess I just hadn't noticed until this
years ago.
I don't blame them for doing it, but yeah.
I do. I blame them. I'm upset about it.
I think I remember seeing it for the first time when they released like the DVD box sets of like the 2 series when there was only the 6 movies, right? That's when they changed that.
Yep.
But like, come on, like,
come on.
How are you gonna feel about Obi-Wan? Like you even have a problem with Ian McGregor, which like he's played a lot more Obi-Wan than
Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness, that's his name. Yeah.
Who actually hates Star Wars.
He hated it. Absolutely not like it at all.
Yeah, I know. I think I heard he called it like a silly like medieval movie in space or something to someone that asked him what it was.
He was like a Shakespearean actor. He's been knighted, for God's sakes. It's Sir Alec Guinness. He was a knight for acting in the Queen's realm, and they had
Jedi Knight.
Yeah, there you go. But he chose. He was a knight, and he hated it. But I want you to look at my background for a second. Now look at this. Here is Alec Guinness here. Old Obi-Wan. Here's Yoda. Old Yoda. Old Anakin, because Darth Vader was 20 years younger than Hayden Christensen was when he did the movie. Why wouldn't he have aged? This is perfect. This could be old Anakin, what he would have looked like. It doesn't have to be young Darth Vader, because all of a sudden, if you can pick your age as a force ghost, why wouldn't they all pick to be like young?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, because they're just like inherently better people, and Darth Vader was always kind of selfish. So he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be young. Look at these idiots choosing their old selves.
Fair point.
Shitty bodies."
Yeah, look at you, Yoda.
I think I'll like Obi-Wan. I think if the director does a good job and it is good,
I'm excited for it. Ewan McGregor was. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
That's right.
No, Ewan McGregor did a great job as Obi-Wan. He's one of the shining points in the prequel series that actually was good, as well as Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon was amazing too. Darth Maul was amazing. And yeah, that's about it. Okay.
Yep.
Now, can I talk about Ewoks for a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's talk about Ewoks.
Now, Ewoks, I'll tell you right now, I like the Ewoks. I was a fan of them. I've talked to my friend Kevin. Now, Kevin is also a Star Wars fan. He's a couple of years older than me, and he hated the Ewoks. And we've had long discussions about this, because apparently there's a certain age group, which is a little bit older than me, all Gen X people. If you're under a certain age, you like the Ewoks. If you're over a certain age, you hate the Ewoks. And there's a specific reason for it. The one reason is this. Ewoks were fun and cute, and they were teddy bears, and they appealed to a younger audience. The older Star Wars fan, the ones who were maybe 10 and 11 when the first Star Wars came out, came to expect a little bit more action, a little bit more grit, a little bit more dark, and the Ewoks let them down completely. Now, having said that, we need to discuss why the Ewoks were the Ewoks. In the original film, they were supposed to go to a Wookiee-inhabited planet. So instead of Ewoks, you should have got Wookiees. Now, George Lucas said...
I can already see where this is going.
George Lucas liked the Wookiees, and he said the reason why he brought Chewbacca in is because he liked the idea of the Wookiees so much, he wanted to have it in all the films, not just in the last film. So he said, instead of that, let's put these cute little teddy bears on the planet, and they can fight as well. Now, let's think about a point that I went back to a little while ago about merchandising. There were already Chewbacca dolls out there, and everybody who wanted a Wookiee doll had a Wookiee doll already. George Lucas says, instead of putting this awesome, cool, huge Yeti character going in and fighting, why don't I make these super cute little dolls that I can sell 5 billion teddy bears of and make an extra $1 billion in my bank account and maybe make them, well, okay, so these super hyper technical stormtroopers are going to get their asses kicked by a teddy bear with a rock. And he chose to do Ewoks as opposed to Wookiees. And even the name Ewok is a derivation of the word Wookiee. It's just backwards. So having said that, the Ewoks were put into the final movie because George Lucas wanted to make more merchandising money, not because they added anything to the film. And that's a fact.
Oh my God.
I thought he just like got sick of creating different kinds of aliens. He's like, fuck it, these ones are bears.
Yep. Cute bears, damn cute bears, and they were cute bears.
They're so
and that's it. They're clumsy
that
and they're
makes
fun.
So much sense.
And you love them to death because they are so freaking cute. And that was not by accident. That was definitely by design because Lucas wanted to sell more toys.
He's an evil genius. When that one Ewok dies, I die.
Oh, it tears you up inside when that one Ewok dies. But, they all should have been being slaughtered. It should have been just a massacre. There's no way they should have fought.
Imagine if they did have Wookiees, just them tearing stormtroopers in half.
I mean, think about that battle. You could have had like Wookiees versus stormtroopers. It would have been amazing.
Oh, it would have been so good. Oh, man.
I've watched it like countless times, and every time that every time that Ewok goes down, I'm still like, no, get up. No. I hold out hope every damn time.
I watched it last night and I teared. I really teared up. And he goes back to his little body. He's like, ooh, ooh. And he's like, pushes his little body and it's not moving. And he's like, oh.
And that's with them.
They're sad. They're sad. They're joyful. They're incredibly sellable, and like, don't you just love when they're like giving everyone the business, like poking Han with their sticks and stuff, and he's like, all right, what are you doing?
Han's trying to blow out the fire, then the C-3PO comes in as a god. Now that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh God, right?
Yeah.
But Master Luke, I can't impersonate a god. It's against my programming. C-3PO, fuck you! Just impersonate a god.
Oh,
C-3PO, you're just the worst.
The funny thing is, R2-D2 in the original like script spoke English, but his only lines were like bullying C-3PO. Like, you're useless.
Well, he's right. He kind of is.
He kind of just gets in the way more than he helps anything.
One thing I noticed about C-3PO is like he just goes from like person to person being like, well, I guess I'm just gonna serve you now. Yeah. Starts with Leia, then the Jawas pick him up, and right away he's just like, I'll fall in line, of course. Fucking R2's like nobody except for Luke, right? Everyone else is like, I will screw you over the first chance I get. C-3PO is just such a little bootlegger. He just goes along with everything.
Well, it's in his programming, to be fair. Now, there's one more thing I want to bring up, and this is kind of important to me. Because it's a very big deal. And again, it goes back to Darth Vader. And I want to tell you something right now, and this is the absolute truth. Darth Vader is my daughter's cousin's grandfather's cousin, David Prose. And so I can say Darth Vader is my ex-wife's brother-in-law's sister, father-in-law's cousin. And then they can say, well, what's that make him to you? It's like, and I can say, absolutely nothing. And it makes me very happy to be able to do that.
I was going to ask.
That is truly a gift.
I do have that in my repertoire of things that are pretty awesome in my life. And so the one thing I had a little bit of insight because, obviously I've talked to the man, to his cousin. I never talked to Darth Vader, but he knows a little bit about the insight. And in Return of the Jedi, there's a very famous scene where Luke takes off Darth Vader's helmet and then puts it on and becomes Darth Vader. No, wait, that's just what we're talking about. But he takes off the helmet and then we see Darth Vader's face for the very first time, or Anakin at this point. Now, when they originally filmed that, it was David Prowse, who was the Darth Vader, who actually played him for the entire thing. This was finally his chance to be seen by the world. And he was very, very excited about it. So they played out the whole scene. They took off the mask, and he finally said, "I can see with my own eyes," or whatever he says, and it's a very big deal for him. Lucas, without telling anybody, changed the scene and put a third actor as Darth Vader as the face for that one scene, and never told David Prowse about it. He just did it, and he found out literally in the movie theater that he wasn't in this movie, and he never forgave Lucas for it. He was
George
very
Lucas
bitter.
Is like standing up there watching this guy, like getting ready to run.
Yep. God, but the dude was huge too. He was like a 6'6" bodybuilder. He was not a small guy. And so Lucas pretty much fucked him over in the last episode, didn't tell him until it actually happened. And he thought that it was finally going to be this big moment to be seen on screen. Didn't happen. And to the very end of days, both Darth Vader and George Lucas had an ongoing feud, to the point where George Lucas told Darth Vader that he was not allowed to come to any more Star Wars convention things at all because he just didn't want him there. And frankly, at the time, Darth Vader was the only one who actually really wanted to do that because it was his one claim to fame.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill didn't want to be there. Carrie Fisher didn't want to be there. Harrison Ford definitely didn't want to be there. I think like maybe Anthony Daniels and Peter Mayhew wanted to be there, but they couldn't get like the biggest star of the entire series to go because George Lucas fucked him over. And that's an inside scoop from family right there.
Wow.
Whoa.
I just realized how in Spaceballs, like the Mel Brooks movie, when little Yoda or whatever, yogurt is like merchandising, that it's so much more accurate.
Mel Brooks knew what he was doing. It was perfect.
Oh yeah. Spaceballs was great, but
yeah.
So New Hope. Star Wars.
Thank you.
Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi. All the great
Holy
movies.
Trilogy. Yeah. Amazing.
Vader's full journey, because he dies, turns into a Force ghost, which actually in the expanded lore, Obi-Wan actually like comes to him in his final moments and teaches him that technique.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan just pops up on the Death Star.
Yeah, just like, comes to him and he's like, look, you have to do this quick if you're gonna preserve your like Force self and all that, and he teaches him how to do it.
Say these magic words right now.
Yeah. Say bippity. Say please, George Lucas. Yeah, that's why we see him as a Force ghost at the end.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story of redemption, and that's what I love about it. It's really about the arc of Darth Vader. That's what the whole thing's about, which I always thought that, again, that's always why I thought the whole thing with Darth Vader coming in and being evil and gets redeemed in the end. I think it gives us hope for, maybe a new hope that things can be okay. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I only got one more dad joke for you if you want to go there. So, how hot is a dead tauntaun?
How hot?
Lukewarm. Booyah! I'm out of here.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're done. If you want to follow us at the Duck Pond on Instagram and Facebook, or do you have Instagram, Matt? And do you want people to follow you?
Yeah, people can if they want. I don't really do anything on there. If you want to follow me, come check out my Facebook page and Cocktails for the Quarantine. That's my big one. Right. And of course, as you know, we do support Hamilton Hunger Helpers. That's a big thing. So if you're listening to this in the Hamilton area, and I'm sure you have people all over the world, but people in Hamilton, if you want to make any donations, cash or food, diapers, anything that people could need, we've been collecting food and goods for people in need all through the quarantine and distributing them out. So that's a passion that Jess and I have. So if you want to help out with that, I would love it. But aside from that, follow me on Cocktails for the Quarantine #, and that's about all I got.
All right. Well, that's
awesome.
That's good. All right.
And we are on the Duck Pond, Facebook, Instagram, but don't follow us. Don't do
Hey, subscribe to the YouTube channel because I did, and I feel really good about it. So
That's true. Man,
It's
I'm
a
so
fun
bad
channel.
at this.
It's great. I love it. The problem is there's several Duck Pond podcasts, so you got to make sure you find the right one. So it's the Duck Pond podcast. I looked a few times, and if you go on the Facebook page when you post it, I really appreciate that too because I generally listen to my podcast on Spotify, and I know you're not on there anymore. And that's fine because screw Spotify right now. I'm pulling all my work off of there until. Forget, I'm not going to go there. But if you can find you guys on YouTube, it's the best. And it's great because if you can watch it, you can see great things and you can still listen to it in the car. It makes perfect sense, except for when I'm pointing at my background picture. So.
Aww. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor. I'm a huge fan. It's like me finally getting to meet George Lucas. This is great, great honor for me. I do appreciate it. So thanks, guys, for having me. I love it.
Well, thanks for coming on. And yeah, that's it, everybody. Get out of the duck pond.